Dude, what's going on? It's the old soldier coming at you again today from Robinson County, North Carolina. Leaving work and ready to head down the wrong road to home. I hope everybody has a safe weekend this weekend. Safe as you possibly can. But I would tell you this, folks, if you're the praying sort, pray for Louisville, Kentucky, as it goes through a bout of turmoil. Pray for the families of those police officers that were shot and killed for no other reason than they were police officers. That reminds me of the ones, there was also the two Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies, I think it was last week or week before last, shot, and I haven't heard any more updates on them. Of course, there's video footage of that where a young man walked right up to him and shot him through the car. Sad times we're living in, my friends. And it breaks my heart because I was brought up as a child to respect and trust law enforcement. Now, as I got older, I realized police officers are human beings too, just like me and you. Which I say that to say this: there's good ones, there's bad ones, there's annoying ones, there's really friendly ones. I've dealt with all of them. And I'll give you an example. When I was an Army recruiter, I was stationed in Martinsville, Virginia. And I was required to take applicants to either Richmond, Virginia, or Beckley, West Virginia, to the MEPS, or Military Interest Processing Station, to join. Well, one day I was taking an applicant to Richmond. Well, Richmond MEPS opened at 5:30 in the morning. So that meant for me, from Martinsville, I had to leave no later than 2 o'clock in the morning to get to where I was going. Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I abided by the speed limit the whole way from Martinsville to Richmond. There might have been an occasional fracture of the speed limits on Highway 58 and US 360. Long story short, I was leaving Martinsville and got to Danville, Virginia, which is about 30 miles down the road on 58, and realized I need to pull over and get some coffee. Didn't really realize exactly how fast I was going, but as I pulled into the parking lot, a Danville City police officer pulled in behind me with his lights on before I could get out and go in the store and get my coffee. And I got my applicant sitting next to me. I just told him to sit back and hold on, because I don't know what's going to happen. I rolled down my window, and the officer got up there and he's like, license, and I need to see license, registration, proof of insurance. Well, one, government service vehicles don't have an insurance card. GSA is the insurance. As far as the registration, all you got is a dispatch book, and you're supposed to give them the plate number. Well, this guy just acted like I was shooting him a line of crap. Real snarky, rude. And, I gave my driver's license, and he's like, where are you coming from? Or he said, where are you headed to? Richmond, Virginia, sir. All the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee, because at the time I still had Tennessee driver's license. Because when I was on active duty, the Tennessee driver's license didn't expire while you were on active duty, so why change? One less thing I had to worry about and pay for. I said, no, officer, I'm active duty Army. I can see you're active duty Army. Okay, officer. State of Tennessee doesn't require me to renew my driver's license while on active duty. I currently reside in Martinsville, Virginia as an Army recruiter. Well, why are you coming from Martinsville so early in the morning? I went to Richmond MEPS for this young person to join the Army. They open at 5:30. Why can't you send them up the night before? Well, normally we try to, officer, but long story short, I found out from the Danville recruiting office that it was kind of a standard tactic at the time of Danville PD that if they were going to give you a warning, they were going to be rude to you. So you didn't forget it. And I was told that if a Danville City police officer pulled you over and started acting real nice, you were getting a ticket. But either way it goes, it just kind of upset me for the rest of the day. But I've been pulled over by police officers for minor infractions, broken headlights, those kinds of things, and I've had the gambit of them being friendly and rude, just very formal, not rude, but not very warm either. So I think what my point being is, police officers are human and they come in all walks, okay, all things like that. The other thing is, I've got a lot of friends that are police officers in law enforcement. I've had time to converse with a lot of them on a daily basis about what they go through. If I had to put up with some of the stuff that they do and see every day, I'd probably snap. Now, and I say that to say this: I've seen some things that I care never to remember, but they're permanently etched in my mind from my time in the Army. Okay? But in a sense, and I'm not trying to compare, but in a sense, my own personal experiences are pale in comparison to some of what my police officer friends have had to do and still do. And I've talked to some of my acquaintances, friends that are law enforcement, that one time they'll have to go to the scene of a car wreck, then have to go to that person's address and notify the next of kin that their loved one was killed in a car wreck. Not to mention seeing the dead and mangled body in the car. Then turn around and go to another call and have to switch modes to a firm and stern hand to defuse the situation, to going to stopping to help a motorist and having to switch gears again to a more pleasant and helpful attitude. And this all during, one day. But then there's the protest of these police officers now. They're just going to shoot first and ask questions later. Not always the case, folks. 99% of the time, it's not the case. They go into a situation and a gun is pulled on them. They have a split second to react. And a police officer's first responsibility is unto themselves as far as their safety goes. They're just like you and I. They want to go home alive and well at the end of the day. And they have to make these decisions in a split second. Well, now you've got this movement of people that want to defund the police, take away valuable resources that they need. Now, and again, talking to my friends in law enforcement, the majority of them will tell you they need more funds and better training. Let me say that again, more funds and better training. A lot of your police officers are not trained to a high level of efficiency in certain situations, i.e., dealing with somebody with mental health issues. But yet the police are the first ones to respond in instances of that, a lot of the time. Then they get blamed if this person does this, that, or the other. Or they get blamed if they have to neutralize that person, either by non-lethal or lethal methods. The majority of law enforcement I know said the last thing they ever want to do is pull their firearm and have to use it. And when I say use it, use of deadly force. A friend of ours, he's a lieutenant now, he was a sergeant in one of the sheriff's departments around here. They got, their training, finally, if they have to pull their firearm, you shoot until the threat's neutralized. And that's the other thing you hear. Why can't you just shoot a guy in the leg or an arm and take him out? Well, I think I've talked about this before, but it goes back to this again. Accuracy in a high-stress situation. It's hard to aim at a leg or an arm Center mass, easy. You know, that dipstick Biden, just shoot him in the leg. Okay. Obviously, Biden was not a very good student of human biology to realize one of the largest blood vessels pass through each leg. And if you hit that femoral artery, you've got a matter of seconds to stop the bleeding before that person bleeds out. But that's the logic the anti-police, anti-gun establishment keeps throwing out there with a lot of these shootings. The other part is, for those officers that have done that in the past, turn around, their department gets sued because, why? They crippled a person. So that's the other thing. You start shooting at a body limb, and that bullet hits bone and fractures it, breaks it, knocks bone fragment out. Even today with modern medicine, they can't always replace that bone tissue that has been knocked out. So when it grows back together, it's either shorter or it's out of place. Case in example, many of y'all remember the TV series Gunsmoke. Starred James Arness. For those of you who don't, look it up. James Arness was a Hollywood actor, brother of Peter Graves from Mission Impossible, the TV series. James Arness walked with a limp on all his TV shows. The reason was, when he was in the Army in World War II, he got shot or hit in the leg in Anzio. And when his leg healed, one leg healed shorter than the other by, I think it was 3/4 of an inch. I'd have to go back and look at the whole story, but that's why he walked with a limp. One leg was technically shorter than the other because of that gunshot wound, that wound that he sustained in battle. All right. So then they argue, well, can't they use non-lethal force like tasers? Okay, they did that. Finally, the Fulton County DA in Atlanta, Georgia, in their area declared tasers another means of lethal force. Because honestly, a taser, and for those that don't know, tasers have actually been around since the 70s. They just weren't common. I think really didn't start seeing police officers carrying full time until, I want to say, the 90s. Okay. Yeah, a taser can be lethal if, say, you're having to stop a guy that's got a heart condition, but you don't know that as a police officer. Right? Or they might be on a substance that has affected their heart, such as fentanyl, marijuana, cocaine. And so then you hit them with a taser, that electrical shot is what finally finishes them off. But at the time, police officers don't always know that when they deploy that version of non-lethal force. And now you've got cities saying that they can't use beanbag rounds, they can't use tear gas, they can't use a whole arsenal of non-lethal methods. So in reality what you're telling me is that you want your cities to be unprotected so lawlessness can continue. Or like one DA, I don't know if it's California, Georgia, talking about police need to take into consideration the needs of these looters and protesters before they arrest them. No. Theft is theft. Looting is against the law. I could go on and on, folks, but I kind of start off wanting y'all to pray for those families in Louisville, the police officers. Pray for Louisville. Pray for our nation that's being divided over this, because why? You've got a media that is deliberately telling a one-sided narrative and lying in order to push a movement forward. And it's called communism. But anyway, folks, TGIF, y'all have a blessed and safe and wonderful weekend. And Pray for me and Mrs. Old Soldier. We got to go pick out colors tomorrow for the new house. And hopefully Monday we'll get a contract ready to be signed and we can start making movement to get the house replaced before costs get to the point that our insurance check won't cover it. So keep that in mind, folks, if you will, and just pray for us on that. And until Monday, we'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. Old Soldier out.